Tell me when to go. Hey, my name's Dee, and thank you for watching this video.
You rock.
Yes.
Hey traders from around the world, that was the one and only Dee Simpson, who is a trader here in Nashville, Tennessee, and she thought it would be fun to swing by and hang out with me today while we trade together and learned a lot about the markets, candlesticks, gaps, movements. It was a tremendous experience. Let's talk about AMD. The reason I'm talking about AMD today is because that is your stock that we're going to focus on for your trade review on Friday. Every single Friday, my goal is to look through a particular trade that some other trader out there in the world took and just describe how they played it, the good, the bad, the ugly. This trade brought to you by a few traders. Number one, I just want to give a shout out to Donna Lombard, who made 2.5 Rs on AMD today. She played it as a swing trade and actually exited her position. And then you got yourself my man Jon. Jon's a coaching student of mine, and we actually just got off the phone. We chat on Wednesday, and then he went on to crush this bad boy on AMD. So let's simply discuss the why and the setup of this particular trade. So AMD, what we have here is we're looking at a really nice gap that occurred on, what was yesterday? Thursday. So Thursday, most of the market was gapping up, but AMD was gapping up massive. So everything was up, but AMD was up huge. And it wasn't on earnings. Earnings had actually already occurred on AMD right here. And that's even what made this stronger. In fact, when AMD broke above and started getting above this bearish candle, that is really what started trapping a lot of bears. Think about it this way. Most specifically, the market and the broader markets have been pulling back a little bit. In the last 2 days, obviously, a slight amount of bullishness for sure. But AMD had already taken out some of the highs from last week. And the broader markets have not done that yet, right? SPY, the Dow Jones, the Qs, Apple, Nvidia, Micron, those companies have not taken out some of the recent highs of the bearish move from last week. AMD did that yesterday. So this was a really strong gap showing incredible strength. So let's just simply discuss how Jon played it bullish today. First and foremost, like the rest of the market, AMD was gapping down this morning. So AMD had a little bit of a small gap down. So let's pop in here to the 5-minute chart on AMD. And what we're going to do is just kind of look at and describe what's happening. Now, the charting software that I'm using is TrendSpider. More information on that later. But what we have on AMD is pretty classic. Nothing special, nothing crazy. You had the gap down. We filled the gap. That's pretty normal. We filled the gap this morning. We had the rollover. And then we came down to a potential trend line. It doesn't matter if you drew it or not. But if you had a trend line on there, great. If you didn't, no big deal. But this trend line, again, getting picked up by TrendSpider, really useful trend. But none of that matters, right? Just looking at some of the candlesticks, you have a really good idea and description of how one could have played this. So let's talk about it. You have the higher moves, right? This is when a lot of the market was just kind of chopping around, trading sideways, not doing much. AMD gets back above, comes back down, makes a higher low. That's a really big takeaway. So here's the higher low right there. And again, this is on the 5-minute chart. In fact, the lows of these two candles are identical, 33.38 and 33.38. And this is also a morning star reversal pattern. So you have a morning star reversal pattern, tweezer bottom on AMD, which is a little bit of an accomplishment for AMD to stop exactly at the low. And then once we break above there, we retest another tweezer bottom, and then we break out. Looks a lot like a double bottom. And that is pretty much what happened. Close above this resistance, stop right there, and then she just absolutely dominated higher. Let's go look at and see how Jon played it. So Jon, this is also on a 5-minute chart, and boom, that is specifically how Jon played this setup. You'll notice here's the double bottom that came in right there. So boom, 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 boom. And what I really like about this trade, Jon, is this candle right here was probably kind of like your, hey, what should I do on this particular trade type of candle? A little bit of a bearish candle, right? You had lower highs, you had higher lows. Nothing was exact at that moment until this candle came in and then this candle came in. What was really good about Jon's trade is he did not chase, right? He did not buy up here, which it still would have worked, but he didn't buy the trade up there. He simply said, okay, I'm going to let it pull back, and all he did was buy it off of this previous high. That's it. That's all he did. So if we go back to TrendSpider and we kind of zoom in just a little bit, you'll notice, again, that really, really pretty double bottom that came in. All John or anyone else who might have day traded this simply bought off of a retest of that double bottom area. All right, so the double bottom coming in here, boom, 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 big breakout, buying on a retest, right? Buying the pullback of that neckline, getting in there with a stop below the moving averages with a stop, 20, 30, 23 cents away, and then just rode it higher. So coming back over to John's trade setup, here is the setup. Again, entry at 33.73, stop at 33.50. That is 23 cents of risk. And whatever your risk unit is, doesn't matter. Let's say it's 500. 500 divided by 23, that's going to give you the exact, precise amount of shares that you can buy to mathematically lose 500 bucks if you're wrong. And that's going to come up with 2,173 shares. And on that trade, really nice little move. It popped, it broke, and then he started moving and stopped, and then he hit his target at 34.20. So the question would be, why exit at 34.20? Obviously, AMD went higher than 34.20. I mean, right now it's at 34.70. So why did John get out there? And the answer is because he was up 2 Rs. It had made a new high, boom, 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 and that was a really good trade. Nice 2 times this particular risk. He could have held longer, could have also exited a partial there and then continued increasing a stop. But realistically, locking in over 2 Rs at a resistance at a previous high is never a bad thing. In fact, most traders will hold a little bit too long, and sometimes we'll see a lot of profits go to the wayside. So your goal is to have a predetermined price that you want to get out at, get out that price, lock in profits, and do very well in the trade. It obviously takes a lot of practice, skill, and patience to really get those 3, 4, 5 R winners that could have occurred on AMD, right? It just kind of more or less kept on crushing. But what's most important to remember is we're never going to get out at the exact top. If you're in this trade, and let's say you're in it, I mean, where do you get out? Here, or here, or here? Or if you're trailing the stop, you're going to get out here, but you're still not going to get out the exact high. And even if you trailed your stop and you got out there, you'd probably think to yourself, oh man, but I could have sold right there. How did I not know that? Right? We're never going to get out at the exact high. We have to realize that. We have to be okay with that. But most importantly, the entry is how we make the money. It's all about how we buy and how we mitigate our risk if we are wrong. John, great trade on AMD today. Beautiful trend. Really good job finding a strong stock out there that recovered nicely when the rest of the market was down. The rest of the market didn't really start bouncing until about 11 Central or so, 11:30. This thing was bouncing a little bit earlier than that, really leading that market. So good trade, John. Good trade, Donna. I know Clive, you made some money on AMD today. AMD is always a fun stock to revisit and day trade, swing trade, just trade in general. It's really a lot of fun. Got some put sales on AMD for September down there at 26. So right now things are looking good on that. Otherwise, folks, that is my trade review for this Friday. I hope it was helpful and beneficial. I will see you all on Monday for your free real life stock review. And until then, love life, live life, and trade it. Bye.